Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationship Advice and it's by user Thoroughray Chronically. My 29 female husband, 31 male, wants kids, but I think I want a divorce. My husband and I have been together for 8 years. The last 3 we've been married. Little things keep adding up and I don't even know how to approach these issues. He wants kids soon, but I can't trust that he'd support me. I'm trying to figure out if I try to work or just leave. Recently, as in the last 4 years, I have been dealing with chronic health issues, but this year alone, I've had 3 surgeries to fix various things for my health. Our sex life hasn't been good in a few years since I got ill. Maybe once or twice a month. He has told me that it's not enough and he's feeling rejected and it's making his mental health worse. But if we have kids, we won't be able to have sex while I'm recovering? I work 5 to 6 days a week, 12-hour night shifts in healthcare. I am the primary breadwinner in our relationship. He bounces from job to job and recently was unemployed for over a year while he was claiming to be applying to jobs. I know the job market is horrible right now, so I wasn't pushing. I found out he was lying. He hadn't applied for anything in about 6 months, including the jobs I got him recommended for through some connections I have. We got into a massive fight and I basically told him that if he didn't have a job at the end of the month, I was leaving and he could figure out bills himself. Not even a week later, he was back working at his old job. I still do all the cooking, cleaning, and household upkeep. On my days off, I spent 3 to 4 days just putting everything in order for the week. Even when he wasn't working, he wasn't doing anything except playing video games in another room while I slept. So when I'd wake up, there would be laundry I'd have to switch or cat litter I'd have to scoop. He wants kids soon, but with my chronic health problems, it's going to make children a really hard process on my body. Lots of health risks, and I would basically have to be on bed rest the whole time and in and out of doctor's appointments. I couldn't work or do anything really, and I'm just scared I won't get the support that I need. I don't even know if I want to have kids with him anymore. He gets money every month from a settlement and he says it's enough to make up for the income I won't be bringing in if I get pregnant. The settlement payout every month is less than 1/4 of what I make in 2 weeks. I feel like I'm his mother already. I feel like I'd be one of those married single mothers. I've asked him about therapy, individual or couples, and he is dismissive, saying therapy hasn't helped in the past. So I've asked about medications, but he doesn't want to take a pill every day. I don't want to come across as horrible or manipulative, but I'm about ready to write out everything I do. Bill payments, chores, time I'm at work, etc. and have him do it all for a month, then tell me he thinks we can have kids right now. No, OP, you're not horrible, you're just overwhelmed, and for good reason. You are the one that's keeping this relationship together and you're the one that actually put it on its back and started carrying it financially and in every other aspect, while you're battling a chronic illness and work your butt off. Him on the other side, he's lying about job applications in order to stay home and play video games while you pay for everything. That alone should tell you that this man is not the type that you would want to actually start a family with, because he'll just become another child. I mean, come to think about it, you're already living like a single parent with him as a dependent. And bringing additional children into this mess will definitely not fix it. So OP, make that list, not to convince him, but to clarify for yourself how much you're doing. And I'm thinking that'll be a reality check for you that you don't need to wait to collapse to choose peace. Protect your future, OP. Choose a life where you're supported, not sacrificed. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's check out the community comments. Opposite Exam 7435 says, read this back to yourself. You already know you should leave as soon as possible. Careful Listen 2277 says, I hope you realize that the only reason he wants kids now is so that you can't leave him. He senses that you're reaching your breaking point. That's why he wants to have kids soon, to prevent that. Serious Currency 108 says, I think you answered your own question here. You are married to a child. You are married to someone who lies to you. You are married to someone who doesn't support you either emotionally or financially. You are married to someone who doesn't contribute to the household physically, emotionally, or financially. To me, this is someone I would not want to have a child with, let alone be married to. Missionary Honeydew 2209 says, do not get baby trapped. You're his meal ticket and he's sponging off of you. Do not become the primary caregiver for 2 babies, only one of whom will grow up. And Olivia S90 says, you know without a shadow of a doubt you should not have kids with this man. Your entire post is a laundry list of reasons not to. Walk away. You're in a good position to do so, being the breadwinner, etc. Even if he does it for a month, what does that mean? The test to show he'd be a good partner was the last 8 years. You have every last answer right in front of you. OP's edit. To clarify a few things that have come up in the comments. 1. I work the hours I do so I can build up my paid time off and sick time for my procedures and recovery time. Yes, I have FMLA for these, but it only pays out 60% of my wages versus 100% if I use paid time off. Overtime accrues PTO times 2 and pays time and a half. We also have a pickup bonus of $10 an hour. I have been working at this hospital since 2015 as a certified nurse assistant and phlebotomist since 2018 and a registered nurse since 2020, so I have seniority and that comes with benefits. Yay, unions! 2. I work night shift because it has the flexibility for my schedule and they work with me for my restrictions. I am lucky enough to work in a hospital that uses lifts and is staffed as well as can be currently. Shift differential also gives me an additional $6 an hour and that quickly adds up. 3. My surgeries were laparoscopic and recovery time is about 1 to 4 weeks on average. Surgery 1 and 3 were both exploratory. My second was to remove a lesion in my intestines that connected them to my abdominal wall as well as a cyst on my ovary, and recovery was 4 weeks with 4 more on restrictions. I am about to have a 4th surgery to remove my gallbladder with 2 weeks of recovery. Yes, I have had a lot of surgeries this year, but I haven't had any before this, unless you count upper and lower GI scopes, pelvic floor testing, gastric emptying tests, x-rays, CTs and MRI labs, genetic testing and HIDA scans. Or maybe the diet changes and medications that you have to be on for months at a time before you'd see any real changes. I also have the birth control implant, and me coming off of that would involve about 3 different doctors' inputs and oversight. 4. I blocked all of my husband's accounts and his friends' accounts that I know of. I plan on deleting this at some point, but I've just gotten angrier with each moment and everything I type out. At this point, I don't care if he finds this, maybe it would be the wake-up call he needs. 5. Our wedding was supposed to take place in November of 2020. That obviously didn't happen. We rescheduled to the end of 2021, so we didn't lose deposits. He quit his job about 2 months after our wedding. 6. People do things like meal prep for a week and find relaxation in cooking. My hospital provides scrubs. When I am home, I have more than 6 pairs of underwear, so it's not like I don't have clothes if I don't do laundry every day. I appreciate all the comments, but to the rude ones especially, please remember that I am a real person. I'm sorry I have to justify every small detail of my health problems to you. Unfortunately, the knee brace girl in middle school sometimes grows up and still has health problems. Smiley face. This is my first time being alive and not everything is going to be perfect. I am trying my best and sometimes people do stupid things because they love someone. Well, the community says get out there as soon as possible, and that sounds like it's OP's plan. So let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hello again, Reddit. It's been a month since my previous post. I had my surgery a few days ago, and since I have time off, I figured I'd write an update for anyone curious. It will be long, and I apologize. So, I talked with my lawyer last week, and the hope is papers are to be drafted and he will be formally served when he comes back from his work trip in 2 weeks. On one of my days off, I wanted to have a discussion. On one of my days off, I wanted to have a discussion about our relationship and it didn't go well. I had spent the night cleaning and getting the house put together because my anxiety was so bad. When he woke up in the morning, I had breakfast made and we made polite small talk. I started the conversation by asking him if he was happy in our relationship, if he was happy like this with us. I told him I feel like we are roommates more than a married couple. He said he didn't think either of us had been happy for a while, but that he still loves me and wants to raise children with me, that I'll be a great mom. Then he said that he had been meaning to talk to me about something, and he started asking me if I remember his friends in some city and how they were having problems in their relationship after one of them came out as ace, how they opened their relationship so the friend could still get his needs met. At this point, I was just staring at him. He kept rambling on. He told me that he joined some groups online that spoke about how opening their marriage saved it, and that with how much he was traveling now for work, it would be every other 2 weeks, and since he's in a different city, it's not like it would be someone I know or would ever meet. All I could say was, what the F? He then told me to think about it, that we could have a surrogate this way, that he knows it would be a lot, but that we could make it work, that I've always talked about fostering or adopting, and that it would be just like that. At that point, I just asked him if he got someone pregnant or if this was his way of telling me that he cheats on me when he travels for work. And he was almost offended, saying, No, God no. There was one girl at the bar who was flirting with me, and it just felt nice to be wanted like that. He pulled out his phone and started showing me support groups he had joined online for poly people in monogamous relationships. There was probably 3 or 4 of them that he had been texting in for the last few weeks, trying to gain the confidence to talk to me about opening our relationship. He brought up how he knows I've been thinking about switching to travel contracts and I can meet people there, but then we come back home, we're together and married because we still love each other. I have nothing against people who are in poly relationships. We have friends who are and have met their partners and go out all together. It's just not for me. When I'm with someone, I want to be the only person they're with. I don't want to get tested regularly. I don't want to risk surprise pregnancy. I don't want to feel jealous or wonder if he's texting another girl while he's supposed to be spending time with me. But I let him finish his speech before I told him it hasn't felt like we've been married in a long time and I'm done. Hearing that he wants to see other people killed any last feelings I may have had. I'm not in love anymore and staying together isn't going to make either of us happy. We both want kids, but our timelines are different. What we want from the future is different now. I asked him to move out and he didn't seem surprised. I walked away and left him in the kitchen before I drove to my friend's house since I just couldn't be there. We spent the day drinking and eating ice cream while I went from crying to laughing to screaming. She is currently going through a divorce over her ex-husband's smut addiction and the debt he put them in because of it. She gave me her lawyer's information and I had an appointment set up with him a few days later. I went home the next day and he had moved most of his stuff out. His side of the closet was empty, his cat, the stuff in the bathroom. A few of our wedding pictures have been taken off the wall and I can't find them, so I think he took them, and his gaming setup. The house feels incredibly empty now. He travels for work, so I'm used to being in the house alone, but now my toothbrush is lonely in the cup on the sink. Our garage feels bigger now. The bed gets cold. I only have to cook for one now. I miss his presence. I miss having someone to come home to, and I won't lie, I've spent the last week crying and my heart hurts. We didn't speak for a few days after he left. His mom reached out before he did. She wanted to see how I was doing and if there was anything she could do for me. We had a great relationship and I'm honestly going to miss having her in my life. We have a lot of the same dietary restrictions, but for different reasons. And she was my food adventure buddy. We would go out for coffee or lunch to some of the few restaurants and cafes that we can safely eat at. She invited me out for coffee and I went. When we met up the next day, we made small talk until the divorce came up. She let me know how he was doing. He moved into one of the houses on their property. They have like 60 acres and 4 houses on the property that different family members live in. He hasn't really gotten out of bed. She's worried about him and wants us to talk it out. She asked if I was willing to go to couples counseling and told her I've been asking for that for about a year, and his response was no. I was drowning and he didn't want to help fix it, but now that I've decided to leave is when he wants to work it out and I just can't. She stayed silent for a while before asking me if I still loved him. I do, but I don't. I told her I loved who he was, but I'm too full of hurt that I don't feel the love anymore. I can't keep taking care of him like he's my child. I can't keep bankrolling our lives alone. I need a partner who is able to support me, and I haven't felt supported by her son in a long time. We were both crying by the end of our talk, and she gave me a really big hug before leaving. He wanted to talk the next day, and he came back to the house to talk. When he came in, it was awkward. He wanted to give me a hug, and when he and I did, he went for a kiss, and I turned my head, so he kissed my cheek. We talked for a while about our relationship and how it got to this point. He apologized for a lot. He went into specifics of how he never helped around the house. He could have done more since he was home. That it wasn't fair to me that he put it all on me. He told me he's looking at a new job on where he doesn't have to travel, and it's actually in the field he got his degree in. He gave me an update on his cat, who is struggling to the adjustment of the new house. I told him I'll have papers for him in a few weeks, and he couldn't look me in the eyes for the rest of the time he was there. I helped him pack some of the odds and ends that he left around the house, and he left again. At the appointment with the lawyer, we talked about what it would look like for the divorce process. Unless he wants the house, I plan to buy his half. If I do that, then there's a good chance I won't have to pay alimony unless he fights for it. He has the potential to make more than me, so my lawyer doesn't think I'll have to pay anyways. We don't have children, unless you count fur babies, and I took a pregnancy test recently to confirm that I'm not pregnant, so that won't be a factor. We each own our cars and pay for them ourselves. We have joint savings, but I can prove I've been the only one contributing for the last 2 years, so it's likely I'll get most of that. I'm not touching it besides for the bills for the house per my lawyer's advice. I will hopefully have papers for my soon-to-be ex to fill out, and if he gets a lawyer to look over. My 2 cats have been laying in bed with me and haven't left my side since he left. They're trying to make me feel better, but it's hard. My friend who is also getting divorced has said that we'll have a hot girl summer together, and it makes me laugh, but I don't think I'm ready or even close to it. I don't want to meet new people. I don't want to do first dates again. I think I'm just going to be single for a while. Finally, my mom sent me this poem after I told them about the divorce, and it makes me cry reading it. I've learned a lot from this relationship, and I'm content being the old crazy cat lady for the foreseeable future. Here's the poem. I will never love the same after you. I was always the girl that loved so hard that it hurt, until it hurt. I watched you change every day until you eventually become someone I told myself I would never settle for. But how do I leave you? I told myself it was just a rough patch and we can work through this. I will do more to make you love me again because I don't give up on people. So why would I do that to you? I will put myself through hell for you. I will hate myself to love you, and I will rip myself apart so that you can feel cared for. Because I was serious when I said I would die for you, because I almost did. I guess I ripped myself apart so much that I had nothing left. I cared so much about you that I stopped caring about myself completely. I lost who I was and I was no longer strong, and I watched myself change every day until I eventually became someone I told myself I'd never be. But it's my fault for not having a limit on how much I'm willing to give, and for how long I'm willing to stay, and for loving you more than I loved me, because I loved you so hard that it hurt. So I will never love the same after you, by Ali Harding. Thanks Reddit for the support in validating my feelings. I don't think I will update this or ever look into this account again. I hope everyone stays happy and healthy. Smiley face. Take care. Well, OP, it hurts of course, but you've made the right decision. Focus on yourself, take care of yourself, and keep moving forward. Thanks so much for sharing, OP. And now, let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Malicious Compliant, and it's by user VWBeds. Remove unapproved leave from the system. I think it's safe to post this now as the relevant company no longer exists. A few years ago, my job was on an 8-year contract that was nearing its end. I was looking at redundancy, and rather than apply for another job, I worked out I was financially better off waiting for HR's axe to fall and take the payoff. My boss, however, made other plans, started taking time off, and then left. The admin tasks were being ignored, and gradually the offices were becoming empty as people left. I had a lot of annual leave entitlement banked and decided to book a holiday as redundancy was likely still months away, and I used the HR system to book 2 weeks. I informed anyone who would listen, put it in the calendar, etc. Of course, as my boss was now absent, nobody actually approved my leave in the system. I enjoyed my time off and came back to work and all was okay. As we approached the final weeks of the contract, I had to tidy up loose ends and asked HR about final payments, including any unused holiday entitlement. What I got back was a snide dig about how I hadn't properly managed my account as I had unapproved leave requests open that needed to be closed. This was the request for the leave I'd already taken, so I did what I was told and cancelled the request, adding another 10 days back into my banked leave allowance, which the AR department then had to pay me for during redundancy. Thank you very much for the time off and the extra cash. Well, OP, that's a really good going away package. You got a holiday and you got paid for it. Thanks for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.